Hey guys, this is Ken from Nippon Bro. Today we're going to talk about the MAVIC Air 2. Now let's roll the intro. So I'm not going to get too much into the details of the MAVIC Air 2 just because there has been an ample amount of reviews done for this particular item when it first came out. For me, it's more about trying to get a little bit of my perspective across in terms of how I personally use it and my personal experiences, hiccups, and it's been a pretty good experience. It is my first drone, so this is like literally my first impression. So I don't really have anything to compare it to in terms of like any of the other Mavic Pros or the Phantom 4s or anything like that. So for me, it is honestly the first drone and my first experience. So what you guys are going to get is just my opinion, a non-biased opinion on the MAVIC Air 2. I do have the MAVIC Air 2 here with me, and we're going to start with just the controller itself, because the controller is something that to me was very simplistic and easy to just kind of, even if I like, honest to God, I didn't even read the manual for this. So for me to just kind of go into it, and then it doesn't really take anyone tech savvy to start using the MAVIC Air 2 controller. So I'm just going to go over the few positive things of the controller itself, and then I'll go into some of the cons. For myself, I think, again, the ease of use to set up is something that I love. Just having my phone over here, and then just attaching it, pulling this top lever up, and then it seems like it can fit, you know, a pretty big phone, and then just kind of taking the wire out like this, plugging that in like so. So now you kind of have this like kind of game controller almost. I do also like how they have the joysticks underneath here that's detachable, so just kind of taking it out and then screwing it in. So I think that's pretty cool. Although I was thinking that it could be a little bit better on design than that, but I'll go over that in the cons in a sec. But otherwise, I think it is ergonomically good. As far as my hands are not super big by all means. It's easy to grip. Naturally, just holding it, everything kind of just goes where it's supposed to go. Like, you know, fingers on the trigger and the wheel here, and then the thumb joysticks. So everything seems to kind of just flow. So I think that's pretty good. Like I said, I'm not going to go too much of the features of this, but I'm pretty sure everyone knows what DJI MAVIC Air 2 controller looks like and how it feels and everything. So now, a little bit of the cons of this controller itself. The controller itself, I think the con, like I said, going back to the joysticks here, the joysticks are underneath here, which is very cool just to kind of keep it tucked and not sticking out like this all the time. But there are a few things that I noticed, like, for example, like if you did have, I saw that in the package, I bought the Fly More combo, which comes with the 2 extra batteries and some propellers and whatnot. But I noticed that it does also come with the extra joysticks. Now the joysticks, I felt that it came with, it just kind of pinpointed in my mind that these are easy to loot. Otherwise they wouldn't include it as a spare. That's one thing I didn't really like about it, is the fact that it's kind of like your wireless earbuds. People lose them all the time. You know, as long as you can take it off and then put it back into a snug, it's not coming out. That's the good thing. But I just feel like if you did happen to be in a rush and you're just kind of like, oh, like, you know, I can't screw it on, you know, you kind of have this kind of con. But it's not too big of a con, but I think if I were to suggest something to DJI to improve upon this, it would be maybe just a joystick that can either push in, and then when you push it back, it'll just kind of pop out or something like that. And then when it does pop out, you can just twist and lock it. So it's kind of like everything is just flush. You don't need to take anything off. I think that's something that I would suggest to them, but otherwise, you know, it's okay. It's not that bad. Now, I don't find any other con besides that. Sure, maybe some people say it's a little bit too plastic. I think I like plastic in these kind of senses just because I already carry so much gear with me. and I don't need anything else like metal to weigh me down. And even if it was made out of aluminum, I just feel like, you know, as a person that doesn't want to scratch too many things, although I've already scratched my DJI Ronin S, and I've already scratched many other things, and I don't think it's something for me to just keep that in the back of my mind when I'm always on the go and trying to like make content. I can't really think about, oh, like I can't scratch this because if I put it on the ground, then it's going to scratch it and I need to find a place. But like, I'm like, you know what, just throw it on the ground, go do your thing. And that's how I'm trying to roll right now. So I like the plastic design. I think it's okay. I haven't scratched it yet, but you know, I haven't really just kind of been like, here, like kind of throw it around. But having said that, I hope they don't change it. I hope they don't go into a metal body as far as like the starter model goes. I haven't really looked into too much of the smart controller for the DJI, but I don't feel like I need that yet anyways, just because of course having an LCD screen without having to use your phone is great. But I feel like it's not worth the extra money for myself to be able to get that LCD screen built in and then not be able to use my phone. And I kind of like having the app and being able to control everything on there as well. So maybe in the future, if DJI was to give me, you know, a sample for a review and to use, maybe I might like it. But as far as that, I'm not gonna fork out my own money to get that just because it's not really worth my time and money at this moment. Moving on to the drone itself. The drone itself, you know, it's very, I feel like it's kind of like, it reminds me of those old days where I used to drive those RC cars around and you get these controllers and stuff. And then eventually it started upgrading to like the nitrous powered gasoline cars. And then those kind of took off, especially here in Japan. And then it took off to like actual, like a little bit bigger model of those helicopters and how they can flip upside down. They're all powered by gas. And I feel like, that is something that kind of revolutionized the whole drone perspective. And I feel that this drone here, especially for DJI, to kind of go into that industry and try to tackle it, and it's not even just a toy anymore. You know, it's not just not having a camera and you're just flying it around with your kids outside. And you know, it's something that is fun to do with your family back then, but this is more for like, not for kids. It's something that you need a little bit of skill to use. I mean, it is good to just have and to shoot videos of different things. Of course, there's some countries like my country back in Canada where you need a license now. You need an aviation license, and you don't need to actually go through the simulation course, but you do need to take basically the entire 500-page book and then take the exam to be able to be classified as a drone operator. I'm not too sure about the United States about that, but I know as far as Canada, that is how it goes. Now here in Japan, you don't need a license at all to fly a drone. So in that sense, I am very glad I invested in this, because having known that there is no license needed in Okinawa or anywhere in Japan, that I actually did invest in the MAVIC Air 2. Now, if there was restrictions, just like Canada is, or the United States, I would have probably just went for the mini version. Now, having said that, I invested in this knowing that there is no license, but also because it came out with new features that is comparable to the MAVIC Pro. So that's why, you know, for the cheaper price, I got something more that I can get my bang for the buck. And I think that it is great to have something like this in your bag if you can afford it. And I feel like rather than spending a couple extra $100, you can invest in lighting and other things like that to be able to start your photography or videography career. So moving back into the MAVIC Air 2, it comes with a protective case, or yeah, I guess it was a lens cover. And then this one, I always forget to take it off. Honest to God, every time I fly, the app tells me gimbal is like there's obstruction on the gimbal or it can't move. And I'm like, what's going on? So then I bring it down, and then, you know, lo and behold, there's one of these things on it. So I have to take these off. Great for protection. I always have this. I'm not sure if it's in the box. There's a sticker on it that says you can throw this away, but this is something that I won't throw away just because it always keeps it protected when it is in my bag. Having said that, this is a 3-axis gimbal on here. So essentially, if you really wanted to, and you're trying to choose between, having a handheld gimbal and a separate camera to go out one day, or just buying this alone and be able to fly in the air, and then also be able to just have it handheld as a 3-axis gimbal camera. Having said that, I think Peter McKinnon did a video in terms of having a mount for this particular item. And then I forgot who it's made by, but I know that it's like a dual handle, and you can kind of slot this into a mount, and then you can kind of have it as like a miniature Ronin M type of deal, and then have this kind of do cinematic sequences. So that's something that I learned off of that video, and I thought maybe, I'll do a video in terms of vlogging with this, or taking cinematic B-roll sequences with this Mavic Air 2. And it's going to be all handheld. I won't do any airfly shots of any kind. It's just going to be all handheld. So I'll show you guys that as well, just in case you do have one of these and you're just a drone operator and you don't have any other video camera or mirrorless camera DSLRs to work with, and you only have this. I'll show you how you can do it with this in the next coming video. Now, having said that, moving further on, I think it's very easy to use, but of course, if you don't take this out on the order it's supposed to go, then let's say you take out the B arms first, you're not going to be able to take out the A arms. So, having said that, A arm, B arm, having it open up like this. Now, the other thing I noticed was the fact that at first, again, I didn't read any of the instructions for this particular drone, and when I put on these propellers to kind of go, like, I'm not sure if you guys could see this, but on here, it just says like lock and unlock direction. So what I used to do is I used to actually just twist this all the way until it says to the lock position, and I did the same for this. And then it kind of looks something like this in the end. But I noticed that after I flew the drone and then landed it, what ended up happening was it ended up being straight like this. So instead of having to go like this and go like this all the time, what I did was I just kind of took both wings and then I just kind of pulled them, and then it ends up being straight like this. And this is good enough to take off. And I haven't had any troubles in terms of it not working with that type of setup. And then these batteries itself, I think they are very good. The flight time on it is, I would say it's anywhere between 30 to 34 minutes. It never really goes up to actual 34 minutes just because it is windy here in Okinawa, and I feel like because of the wind and the drone trying to keep up with the wind, and then it's always kind of like sometimes like jerking like this, and because of the extra motor power it needs to keep it stable within the 30 knot winds or the 20 knot winds, it is doing pretty well. But the battery time, I would say, lessens by 10 minutes just because of that. So that is something to keep in mind. If you're in a super, super calm area with no wind, ideal conditions, and you're flying in normal mode, then yeah, I would say you might get up to 34 minutes, or even in tripod mode, you would get 34 minutes. But if you're in sports mode, and then you're constantly just flying it around, yeah, I would say like 20 minutes, maybe, give or take, but that is still pretty good for a drone. I remember when back then drones started coming about, it ended up being, I think it was like 10 minutes. I think 15 minutes is actually really good, but 10 minutes was probably one of your maximums for a pretty good drone that you paid a lot for. Having said that, this battery is kind of dead right now, so I'm not going to use that one. But once you, kind of put this in and then you turn it on, the lights kind of indicate that it is on. The wings kind of do this little jittery thing, and then 3-axis gimbal starts to kind of calibrate itself, and it'll make that chime. Now that it is on, you can put it on the ground and take off. So I'm going to show you a little bit of some drone footages. So hang on one second and let me just show you some of the drone footages I caught from using the Mavic Air 2.
See you.
hopefully you guys liked that footage that I shot with the Mavic Air 2. Now, if you want more, then just comment down below. I'll try to put out as many videos for the Mavic Air 2 and how I shot with it, even do slow-mo with it and 8K time-lapse. So if you'd like to see those videos, comment down below and let me know. So the next thing I want to move up on is the fact of the ND filters that come with Fly More Combo. Right now I have the ND64 on this drone right now. This is pretty good in terms of, you know, if it's a pretty sunny day and it's like beaming sun, I think it's pretty good. But there is something that you got to watch out for when you put too dark of a filter on a day where it doesn't need to be that dark. The dark filter initiates the white balance to start changing, and as well as the ISO. What I do is I set my ISO very, very low. In case the actual software inside starts automatically changing it. And then I manually do that because I noticed that there was a lot of noise in my footage and it just kind of ruined it. Having said that, I use a ND64 when it is very, very bright. So a day like today, I wouldn't really use it just because there are some clouds around. Occasionally you'll see the sun peek through, but an ND16, which it comes with, will suffice. Just put that ISO very, very low, and then now we have military helicopters around here. But anyways, so basically, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for the Mavic Air 2 in terms of my thoughts on it and my 2 cents about it. And it's something that I did not expect I would buy anytime in the near future, but I did. You can never get this type of quality of shot from the ground, and you would usually need like a helicopter or someone, you need to hire a helicopter pilot to take you up and to take views of the city and whatnot. And to be honest, you could do the exact same with a drone. So now basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around this area. There are some beaches in this area. Also, right now, if you'd like, hit that like button and then subscribe down below. Follow my Instagram and my Twitter right here, and you'll be able to keep up to date with when I post new videos as well. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go around this area. There are some beaches around this area. Take my gimbal and stick my camera, which I'm using right now, and take some B-roll sequences and photography so you can see it on my Instagram and my Twitter. And the B-roll sequence will be at the end of the video. So, be right back. Oh yeah, I totally forgot to mention that we're gonna do a update on Nippon Bro. It's a little windy right now, sorry. It's right by the beach. But I'm gonna do an update for Nippon Bro, the company itself, and we're just gonna go through the registration process of the company, and then I'll show you how to do that. But it is, because I am registering in Canada, there is a website specifically for Canada. So I'm not sure about any other websites, but I'm pretty sure there are services out there for the United States as well. So let me show you that next time. Oh, this thing is so heavy. Look at the view. That's some crazy view, I'm telling you guys. Anyways, I'm signing off, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.